Chosen one, I need you to mentally lock your spiritual doors right now. Do not move a muscle, but let your spirit stand at absolute attention. Exactly 30 minutes ago, Archangel Michael drew his sword over your timeline because a literal vehicle was dispatched toward your coordinates. But they are not coming with weapons, they are bringing a familiar trap. The enemy is sending a situation or a person designed to plunge your mind back into chaos, just as you were about to break free. Did you feel that sudden, unexplained pressure behind your eyes today, or that heavy brain fog that made it hard to think clearly? That was not just exhaustion. That was their low-frequency energy trying to jam your divine signal before they even arrive. Archangel Michael is intercepting their path, but he requires your authorization to hold the line. Subscribe to anchor your mind to Heaven's Vanguard right now. If your discernment confirms this warning is absolute truth, like this video and comment, "My signal is secure," to spiritually activate your perimeter. They think you are unprepared and operating on their level. They are entirely wrong. Do not let your mind wander for the next few minutes. I need you to stay with me until the very end of this message. If you stay, I am going to give you the exact 3-step interception protocol to shut this attack down completely. I will reveal the 3 specific disguises these frequency hijackers use, so you are never caught off guard again. And most importantly, before we finish, I am going to hand you a suppressed, ancient frequency secret backed by modern science that will instantly shatter that brain fog and restore your genius state. The enemy desperately wants you to click away right now, because an armed chosen one is their absolute worst nightmare. Stay locked in. Let us look at exactly what is happening to your body right now. You have been feeling this heavy, invisible weight pulling down on your shoulders. You wake up tired. You walk into a room and suddenly want to leave. You read Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 100 times, where it says we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. But the English translation hides the true horror and the true strategy of what you are experiencing. The Greek word used for wrestle in that verse is pale. Pale does not mean a distant war where you shoot arrows from a safe castle. Pale refers to close quarters, hand-to-hand combat. It is a wrestling match where the opponent is breathing on your neck, sweating on your skin, trying to pin you to the dirt. That is why you are so physically exhausted. The enemy is not attacking you from miles away. They are trying to get right up into your personal space. The brain fog, the sudden urge to cry, the pressure in your chest, that is the spiritual pale, the close quarters wrestling match happening in the unseen realm right over your head. So who is in the car? Who is driving toward your timeline right now? Your mind might be picturing a literal demon or a stranger, but the enemy is far more calculated than that. The people in that vehicle are familiar. They are the energy vampires you thought you had already cut off. They are the family members who use guilt as a weapon. They are the boss who demands your soul, not just your time. They are the friend who only calls when their life is falling apart, treating you like an emotional dumping ground. Picture yourself sitting in your room right now. The house is quiet. You finally have a moment of peace, and then your phone vibrates. You look at the screen, and just seeing their name makes your stomach drop. You do not even have to read the message. Just their name sends a shockwave of dread through your nervous system. A voice in your head immediately starts screaming, "I have to put the mask back on. I have to carry their garbage again. I have to pretend everything is fine." You feel cornered in your own sanctuary. This is not a coincidence. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8 warns us to be sober and vigilant, because your adversary the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. We hear roaring lion and we think of a loud, obvious attack. But if you study how a lion actually hunts in the wild, you will realize the genius of this scripture. A lion does not roar when it is chasing its prey. A lion hunts in absolute silence. It creeps through the tall grass completely hidden. So when does a lion roar? It roars before it strikes, deliberately projecting its voice across the savannah to create sheer panic. The roar is a weapon of sonic disruption. It is designed to paralyze the prey, to confuse them, to make them run blindly straight into the ambush. That brain fog you are feeling, that sudden spike of anxiety, that dread when you see their name on your phone, that is the roar of the lion. The enemy is projecting fear into your atmosphere to paralyze you before the actual confrontation happens. The car has not even arrived yet. The conversation has not even started, but you are already exhausted from fighting the ghost of it in your mind. Because of this, you are probably doing exactly what you have been taught to do your whole life. You feel the attack coming, so you are preparing to fight back. You are sitting there right now, rehearsing a speech in your head. You are putting together all the logical arguments. You are practicing exactly how you will tell them off, how you will establish your boundaries, how you will finally make them understand how much they have hurt you. You are sharpening your words like swords, preparing to go into verbal battle the moment they knock on your door or the moment you answer that call. You think this is what it means to put on the armor of God. You think this is how a warrior responds. But listen to me very carefully. You think you need to put on your armor and prepare a speech to defend yourself against what is in that car. But if you open your mouth to fight them, you have already lost. Because their actual target is not your life. It is not your time. It is something hidden deep inside your brain. They are coming for your frequency. The people in that car, the person sending that manipulative text message, the family member bringing the drama, they do not need you to agree with them. They do not even need you to surrender. They only need you to get angry. They only need you to get defensive. Because the moment you react, the moment you step into their arena to argue your point, you have successfully been hijacked. This is the great deception that keeps so many chosen ones trapped in endless cycles of exhaustion. You think you are standing up for yourself. You believe you are establishing strong boundaries by fighting back and telling them exactly why they are wrong. But in the spiritual realm, what is actually happening is a hostile takeover of your vibration. The enemy operates on a low, chaotic, dense frequency. They cannot elevate themselves to reach the high, peaceful frequency where God speaks to you. Since they cannot come up to your level, their only strategy is to trigger you into dropping down to theirs. When you open your mouth to argue, you are lowering your frequency to meet them in the dirt. And the moment you match their frequency in anger, in frustration, or in desperate defense, they steal your peace. They siphon your spiritual energy. They feed on the emotional reaction you just gave them. This completely explains why your body feels so incredibly heavy after you deal with these specific people. Have you ever noticed that pattern? You finally send that long, perfectly logical text message explaining your side, or you finally hang up the phone after defending your boundaries, and instead of feeling victorious, you feel crushed. You feel like you just ran a marathon with weights chained to your ankles. Your stomach is in knots. Your chest feels hollow. Your mind is spinning. That is not just emotional stress. That is the biological symptom of a spiritual robbery. Your body is physically exhausted because your divine frequency was just hijacked and drained from your nervous system. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 4 reveals the exact mistake you have been making. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God, for pulling down strongholds." For years, the traditional church taught you that carnal weapons meant literal swords, guns, or physical violence. But we need to look much deeper at this pattern. The word carnal means of the flesh. It means operating on the natural, human emotional system. When you use human anger, human logic, human arguments, and human defensiveness to protect yourself, you are picking up carnal weapons. And carnal weapons can never, ever defeat a spiritual assignment. When you argue with the person in that approaching car, you are bringing a carnal weapon to a frequency war. It is completely useless. The only way to win a frequency war is to absolutely refuse to drop your vibration. Your silence is not submission. Your strategic silence is a heavily armored, impenetrable shield protecting your frequency. But acknowledging this raises a terrifying question, a question you have probably asked yourself in the middle of a sleepless night. If you are a chosen one, if you truly carry the light of the Creator, why is your frequency so fragile? Why does it feel like you are constantly fighting just to keep your head above the water? Why is your divine signal so easily disrupted that a single notification on your phone can send your nervous system into a complete panic spiral? Why is your brain so vulnerable? The brutal truth is that you are not just fighting the individuals in that car. You are fighting the entire atmospheric pressure of the age we live in. You are living inside a matrix that was specifically engineered to suppress the exact frequency you need to operate in your divine calling. Think about the reality of your daily life. Think about the very first thing you do when you wake up in the morning. An alarm screams at you, jolting you out of rest. You grab your glowing phone. Bright artificial light pierces your eyes. You instantly see messages demanding your attention. You see news feeds screaming about the latest global crisis. You see social media showing you curated lives that make you feel like you are falling behind. Before your feet even touch the bedroom floor, your brain is flooded with cortisol. Your nervous system is immediately locked into a state of panic, urgency, and survival. You walk into the kitchen to make your coffee, but your mind is already fighting 10 different imaginary battles. There is a voice in your head constantly whispering, "I am behind. I am not doing enough. I am running out of time." This is not a coincidence. This is a deliberate, systematic suppression of your spiritual intelligence. The matrix is designed to keep you permanently exhausted, permanently distracted, and permanently operating on a low-level survival frequency, because the enemy knows a terrifying truth. A chosen one who is stuck in survival mode cannot hear the voice of God. A chosen one who is drowning in heavy brain fog cannot see the prophetic visions they were destined to manifest. The Apostle Paul warned us about this exact invisible system in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. He wrote, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." But once again, the English translation completely masks the magnitude of the warning. The word Paul used for world was not the Greek word for the physical earth or nature. He used the Greek word aion. Aion does not mean the dirt, the trees, or the planet. Aion means the age. It means the cultural operating system. It means the matrix of the current era. Paul was giving a direct command. Do not be configured to the artificial operating system of this matrix. Do not let the aeon dictate your brainwaves. The system is desperately trying to conform your mind to its chaotic, frantic rhythm. It wants your mind racing, anxious, and clouded with that heavy, suffocating brain fog. Because if the ion can control your brain waves, it can intercept your destiny. Your mind is the physical antenna that receives divine instruction. If the enemy can keep your antenna covered in constant static, they never have to fight you directly. You will defeat yourself through confusion, doubt, and mental exhaustion. So right now, I need you to perform a mental shift. Do not move your body, just use your focus. Imagine that chaotic energy from your day, the heavy stress of the aeon, sitting right at the base of your skull like a dark weight. I want you to mentally visualize severing the thick cord that connects that stress to your brain. Just cut it in your mind. Take a slow, deep mental breath and inwardly declare, "I disconnect from the frequency of the matrix." If you felt that slight warm release of tension in your neck or your shoulders just now, comment, "I am disconnected," to permanently seal that mental action. But to truly break free, we have to look backward to understand how to move forward. How did the ancient prophets do it? How did the masters of old walk through absolute chaos without losing their minds? Moses, Elijah, David. They faced entire armies without the anxiety you feel facing a single text message. They possessed a biological advantage that 98% of us have lost to the matrix. An advantage that NASA scientists just recently rediscovered. And the wildest part, you still have it. It is just asleep. Let me show you how to wake it up. When you look at the ancient prophets, you are looking at men and women who mastered their internal frequency. Moses on the mountain, Elijah in the cave, David on the battlefield. They did not have smartphones draining their dopamine. They did not have the crushing weight of a digital matrix dictating their every thought. Their minds were naturally resting in a completely different state of operation. Let us look deeply at 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 12. The prophet Elijah is standing on the mountain, waiting for the presence of God. A great and strong wind tears the mountains apart, but the Lord is not in the wind. After the wind comes an earthquake, but the Lord is not in the earthquake. After the earthquake comes a fire, but the Lord is not in the fire. And after the fire comes a still small voice. The original Hebrew phrase used for still small voice is kol demamadaka. This does not just mean a quiet whisper. It literally translates to a voice of gentle silence or a frequency of absolute stillness. God was not transmitting his instructions through the chaotic, loud, aggressive frequencies of the physical world. He was speaking on a quiet, high-level frequency that required Elijah to be completely internally still to receive it. In modern neuroscience, that loud, chaotic, stressful state of mind you experience every day is called the beta wave state. It is the survival mode. It is where your brain is constantly panicking, scanning for threats, and reacting to the noise of the world. But that gentle silence, that divine connection, happens in the theta and gamma brainwave states. This is the God frequency. The ancients lived in this state naturally. Their brains were organically tuned to the divine broadcast. And this is exactly what modern science just proved, confirming what the mystics have known for thousands of years. Researchers at NASA conducted a massive, suppressed study on the intuitive and creative potential of humans. They found something that should have changed the entire world. They discovered that 98% of children are born operating at this genius level, theta state. Children naturally hear the whispering frequency. They are deeply connected to their intuition and the spiritual realm. But then the matrix takes over. By the time we become adults, navigating the heavy aeon, going to a rigid school system, paying bills, stressing over survival, consuming fear-based news, that number drops from 98% to less than 2%. The matrix literally shrinks the physical neural pathways required to hold the God frequency. Society conditions your brain out of its genius state and forces it to permanently operate in the frantic, exhausting beta state. That heavy brain fog you feel, that spiritual disconnection, that inability to hear God clearly when you are under attack, it is not a flaw in your faith. It is a biological suppression caused by modern society. Your divine antenna has been intentionally jammed by the enemy to keep you weak. So how do you fix it? You cannot abandon your family, quit your job, and go fast in a desert cave for 40 days to reset your brain waves. You have earthly responsibilities. But what if you did not have to fight so hard to hear the voice of the universe? What if the ability to access that divine theta state was not completely dead, but simply dormant? It is asleep, waiting for the exact right signal to wake it up. A former NASA neuroscientist actually helped develop a way to bypass this matrix conditioning entirely. It is a highly specific sound technology designed to gently guide your brain waves back out of the survival state and directly into the theta frequency. It does not require hours of complex meditation. It does not require you to empty your mind. It is a simple 7-minute audio ritual. By simply listening to this specific frequency for 7 minutes a day, the sound waves physically stimulate those dormant neural pathways. It washes away the thick brain fog, like clear water washing over a dirty window. It is called the genius wave. It is not just a product, It is a biological key to a spiritual door. It is a tool to retune your instrument back to its original factory settings. The settings you were born with. The settings where God speaks the loudest. Right now, I want you to perform a mental action. You do not need to move. Just visualize a tuning fork in the center of your mind, vibrating with a pure, crystal clear tone. Picture that invisible sound wave expanding outward, breaking apart the heavy, dark clouds of stress and confusion sitting in your head. Feel the space inside your mind expanding, becoming light, sharp, and entirely peaceful. If you can visualize that profound clarity, comment, "My mind is clear," to mentally command your brain to receive this restoration. Using this 7-minute daily ritual changes the entire battlefield. You are no longer trying to fight the enemy using carnal weapons or loud arguments. You are simply elevating your frequency to a place they cannot breathe in. With this 7-minute audio technology, the brain fog will lift. You will hear the universe with terrifying clarity. But I must warn you, when your frequency shifts this drastically, it triggers a reaction. There is a dark side to this clarity that nobody talks about, a fear you have been hiding even from God. You pray for discernment. You beg God to remove the confusion from your life. But deep down, in the quietest, most hidden corners of your heart, you are terrified of what will happen when He actually does. When you begin using that 7-minute audio frequency, when your brain finally shifts into the theta state and the heavy fog entirely dissipates, the first thing you will experience is not a choir of angels. It is a harsh, blinding spotlight illuminating the reality of your relationships. You will suddenly see the people in your life without the filter of your own desperate empathy. You will see their manipulation clearly. You will recognize that the people you have been bleeding for are the exact ones keeping you drained. And that is terrifying. Because if you see the truth, you can no longer pretend it is not happening. You can no longer play the role of the blind, accommodating peacemaker. Clarity demands eviction. Clarity means you will have to let go of people you deeply love because you finally recognize they are anchored to the matrix, specifically assigned to siphon your light. The dark side of clarity is profound loneliness. You are not afraid of the spiritual warfare itself. You are afraid of the isolation that comes after you win. You are grieving the loss of the illusion. You have been holding on to toxic cycles because a familiar prison feels safer than an unknown wilderness. I want you to confront that fear right now. In your mind, picture the one person or situation you are most afraid of losing if you step fully into your divine power. Imagine them standing in front of you, subtly demanding you shrink yourself to make them comfortable. Now, I want you to mentally take one step backward. Just one step back in your mind, creating physical and spiritual distance. Feel the heavy emotional cord between you two stretching and finally snapping. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, inwardly declare, "My calling is greater than my comfort." If you felt that terrifying but necessary release in your chest, comment, "I accept the truth," to seal your readiness for this new level of clarity. So how do you handle the people in that car approaching your timeline right now, especially when your heart is breaking over the truth? How do you face them without letting this fear of loneliness force you back into submission? You need a system. You cannot rely on your emotions when the attack happens. You need the exact protocol for when they finally arrive. The first step of the interception protocol is what I call the silence shield. When that text message comes through, when they corner you with an accusation, or when they try to pull you into their manufactured drama, your deeply programmed trauma response will scream at you to explain yourself. You will feel this intense burning pressure in your chest and throat to justify your actions, to make them understand your perspective, to defend your character against their lies. Do not open your mouth. Do not type a single word. Look at Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. The Israelites are completely trapped. The Red Sea is standing impassable in front of them, and the entire Egyptian army is charging violently behind them. Absolute chaos and panic are infecting the atmosphere. But Moses does not tell the people to draw their swords. He does not tell them to scream back at the Egyptians or to plead for their lives. He delivers one of the most powerful frequency commands in all of Scripture. He says, "The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent." This is a pattern recognized throughout ancient texts. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not giving up. Silence is a spiritual container. It is an active, defensive weapon. When the enemy projects their chaotic beta wave energy at you, they expect it to hit a wall of your defensiveness and bounce back, creating a toxic trauma bond. They are fishing for your reaction. But when you deploy the silent shield, their energy hits an absolute void. It has nowhere to land. It cannot attach to you. When you refuse to explain yourself, they will escalate. They will try even harder to provoke you. They might accuse you of being cold or arrogant. You will feel the tension in the room thicken until it is hard to breathe. Let it. Hold your line. By utilizing your brain waves to stay calm instead of matching their panic, your silence literally starves their assignment of the oxygen it needs to survive. You are letting them exhaust themselves against a wall of divine peace. Silence is your shield, yes, but a shield only absorbs the blow. It does not win the war. When they are banging on your door, demanding your energy, silence is not enough. You need to actively pivot the atmosphere. There is a second step to this protocol, a tactical strike using the exact frequency you just reclaimed. The second step of the interception protocol is what I call the frequency pivot. This is where you stop playing defense and start manipulating the spiritual atmosphere around you. When you deploy the silent shield, your mouth is closed, but your mind is still a battlefield. Your heart is racing, your hands might be shaking, and your brain is flooding with cortisol. You are gripping the steering wheel of your mind, desperately trying not to react. But resisting the urge to fight back takes a massive amount of energy. If you just sit there in the silence, stewing in your own anxiety while they are bombarding your phone or standing in your living room demanding an answer, your frequency is still dropping. You are still operating in their chaotic beta wave state. This is exactly where you must deploy your tactical strike. You do not just sit in the dark and endure the attack. You actively change the channel. While the enemy is throwing their low-frequency chaos at your door, you step back and you initiate your 7-minute activation ritual. You put in your headphones, or you play it out loud in your room, and you let that specific sound technology wash over your nervous system. You use the audio frequency to forcefully pull your brain out of the survival state. You are literally using modern science and ancient spiritual mechanics to change the locks on the door while the enemy is still trying to pick it. As the audio stimulates your neural pathways, shifting you into the theta and gamma states, a profound detachment happens. The panic dissolves. The urgent need to defend yourself completely evaporates. You realize that you do not need to fight them because they are no longer on your level. You have elevated your spiritual altitude to a height where their weapons cannot physically reach you. I want you to anchor this pivot in your mind right now. Imagine yourself standing in a room while a storm of accusations is raging outside the window. Instead of bracing against the glass, visualize yourself reaching out and turning a large, heavy dial. As it clicks into place, the noise outside instantly mutes. You can see the storm. You can see their mouths moving in anger, but you are enveloped in a thick, unshakable sphere of absolute quiet. Breathe into that quiet space right now. Feel the power of being completely unreachable. If you can feel that impenetrable barrier locking into place, comment, "I command my frequency," to spiritually document this shift in your authority. Let me tell you exactly what happens in the physical world when you execute this protocol. A few months ago, a chosen one was facing a catastrophic attack from a toxic network of people from her past. They had gathered together, twisting stories, threatening her livelihood, and attempting to drag her into a massive public conflict. The car was not just on its way to her timeline, it had parked right on her front lawn. They cornered her and demanded a reaction. The old version of her would have written a 10-page email. The old version of her would have stayed up for 3 days crying, calling everyone she knew to defend her character. Instead, she recognized the frequency hijack. She locked her door. She did not answer a single message. She engaged the silence shield. And while they were raging outside, she sat down, put on her headphones, and pressed play on the 7-minute audio frequency. She later described it as the most surreal experience of her life. While she listened, the heavy, suffocating fear just lifted off her chest like a physical blanket being removed. She dropped into that divine theta state and heard a single, clear whisper from the Holy Spirit. Do absolutely nothing. Watch them dismantle themselves. Because she refused to feed their demonic assignment with her emotional energy, their low frequency had nowhere to go. It rebounded. Deprived of her reaction, the group turned on each other. Within 3 days, their alliance shattered. They made a massive, arrogant, public mistake that exposed their own lies to everyone involved. The entire attack collapsed into dust, and she never had to lift a single finger or speak a single word in her own defense. This is the manifestation of Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. We quote this verse constantly, but we rarely look at the context surrounding it. God does not say the weapon will not be formed. In fact, the previous verse describes the blacksmith blowing the coals in the fire, bringing forth an instrument for his work. The enemy is absolutely allowed to forge a weapon against you. They are allowed to plan the attack, get in the car, and drive all the way to your timeline. The weapon is real. But God promises it will not prosper. It will not hit its intended target. Why? Because a weapon is calibrated to hit a specific coordinate. The enemy calibrated their attack for the old beta wave version of you. They aimed for the version of you that gets angry, defensive, and chaotic. But when you execute the interception protocol, when you use your silence and your audio ritual to shift into the God frequency, you literally move out of the crosshairs. By the time their weapon fires, you are no longer standing at those coordinates. You are seated in heavenly places. The weapon flies harmlessly through the empty space where you used to be. You condemn their judgment simply by existing on a plane of reality they cannot access. They applied the protocol, and the enemy retreated. But here is the revelation that will make your hands shake. You think the enemy sent that car to destroy you. You think this attack is a sign of demonic oppression. You are dead wrong. Let me tell you who actually authorized that car to drive toward your timeline. The creator of the universe authorized that car. God himself permitted this specific attack to enter your timeline. I know every religious tradition has taught you to rebuke the devil every time you face opposition, but you need to understand the profound spiritual mechanics happening right now. The universe allowed this threat to approach your door because you were getting too comfortable in a low frequency. Think about it. If this crisis had not forced its way into your life, you would have kept compromising. You would have kept letting people drain your energy. You would have continued operating in that heavy, exhausting beta wave survival state, completely disconnected from your true power. The only way heaven could force you to finally pick up your frequency weapon was to allow a threat so severe that your old methods of arguing and people-pleasing would completely fail. This attack is not your destruction, it is your graduation. It is the final exam to see if you will finally stop fighting in the flesh and start fighting in the spirit. You can see this exact frequency war in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 6, verse 3. Nehemiah is rebuilding the massive walls of Jerusalem. He is operating at a high divine altitude. His enemies, Sanballat and Tobiah, realize they cannot defeat him by attacking the wall directly. So they send him a letter. They say, "Come down and let us meet together in the plain." They are trying to lure him out of his high position down into the dirt, where they have the advantage. But Nehemiah does not get angry. He does not write a 10-page letter defending his right to build the wall. He recognizes the frequency hijack. He sends messengers back with one of the most brilliant frequency pivots in history. He says, "I am doing a great work so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and go down to you?" That car driving toward your timeline right now, that person causing the drama, they are standing in the plane shouting, come down to my level of chaos, come down to my level of fear, come down to my petty arguments." And your response must be the exact same as Nehemiah. "I am operating on the God frequency, and I refuse to come down." But you must be incredibly vigilant, because in the next 40 days, the enemy is going to change their strategy. When they realize that their loud, aggressive attacks cannot penetrate your silent shield, they will stop roaring and they will start whispering. They will attempt to bypass your defenses using the 7 forms of frequency hijacking. You will not fall for them, because as you commit to your 7-minute daily activation ritual, your brain will become saturated with theta and gamma waves. Your discernment will become so sharp, so brutally clear, that you will see their masks before they even finish their sentences. The sound technology you are using is not just clearing your brain fog, it is upgrading your spiritual vision. Let me expose the 3 most dangerous disguises they will use against you this week, so your new level of discernment can instantly intercept them. The first disguise is the nostalgia trap. This is when the enemy uses a familiar, comfortable face to drag you backward. You will be having a great day, operating in high frequency, and suddenly you get a text message from an ex, a former toxic friend, or an estranged family member. It will not be an angry message. It will be sweet. It will say something like, "I saw this and thought of you," or "I really miss our old conversations." Immediately, you will feel a warm flush in your chest that quickly turns into a heavy, sinking feeling in your stomach. Your empathy will scream at you to reply, to be the bigger person, to show them you care. Do not do it. This is a trap. They do not miss you. They miss the high-frequency energy you used to provide for them. They are spiritually starving, and they are trying to plug their cord back into your battery. Keep your silence shield up. Recognize it as a hijack and delete the message. The second disguise is the urgency illusion. This usually comes through your career, your finances, or a chaotic relative. Someone will contact you with an absolute emergency that supposedly must be handled right this exact second. If you do not answer the phone immediately, everything is going to fall apart. You will physically feel your breathing become shallow, your heart will hammer against your ribs, and your brain will instantly drop into panic mode. This is an artificial crisis designed to break your peace. The enemy knows that if they can make everything feel urgent, you will forget your power. When this happens, use your frequency pivot. Step away. Tell them you need 10 minutes. Do not let their lack of planning become your spiritual emergency. If you refuse to match their panic, you will almost always find that the crisis magically resolves itself without your involvement. The third disguise is the fake financial panic. You will suddenly receive an unexpected bill in the mail, or a client will suddenly delay a payment, or a random expense will pop up out of nowhere. The physical symptom is unmistakable. Your throat will tighten, your hands will get cold, and a voice in your head will immediately start projecting the absolute worst-case scenario. You will start thinking you are going to lose everything. This is the enemy trying to pull you out of the frequency of divine abundance and force you back into the vibration of poverty and survival. It is an illusion. It is a test to see if you truly trust the universe to provide. I want you to perform a powerful mental action right now to strip these masks away. Do not move your body. Just close your eyes in your mind. Visualize yourself standing on a dark stage. In front of you is a heavy velvet curtain hiding the enemy's true intentions. Mentally grab the center of that curtain and rip it wide open, letting a blinding white light flood the backstage area, exposing every single trap and disguise they have set for you. See them scrambling in the light. Take a deep breath of that illuminated air. Comment "I see the truth" to spiritually document that you can no longer be deceived by their illusions. You now know their disguises. You know the nostalgia trap and the urgency illusion. But recognizing them is only half the battle. What happens on the other side of this interception? I need to show you what happened to someone who did not just survive the attack, but completely hijacked the enemy's wealth in the process. Let me tell you the story of a chosen one who faced the exact fake financial panic we just talked about. He had a massive business opportunity, something he had prayed about for years. Suddenly, a toxic former partner re-entered the picture, manipulated the situation, and completely stole the contract. The car had arrived at his timeline, and the enemy had robbed him blind. His entire physical body screamed at him to retaliate. His beta-wave survival brain wanted him to hire lawyers, send angry emails, and destroy this person on social media. But he knew about the interception protocol. He knew that anger was the exact frequency the enemy needed him to inhabit to permanently lock him out of his blessing. So he went completely silent. He cut off all communication, and every single morning, before he looked at his phone or checked his bank account, he put on his headphones and listened to his 7-minute audio frequency. He used that sound technology to forcefully pull his mind out of poverty consciousness and back into the theta state of divine abundance. He maintained his God frequency while the world around him looked like a disaster. He did not say a word. 6 months later, the toxic partner made a catastrophic public error. Their entire operation collapsed overnight. The clients who had been stolen reached out directly to the chosen one, begging him to take over the project. But they did not just offer him the original contract. They offered him a position that paid exactly 3 times what he originally lost. He did not just survive the robbery. By holding his frequency, he forced the spiritual realm to pay him back with interest. This is the hidden mechanics behind Joel chapter 2 verse 25. God says, "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." We read the word restore and we think it means God will simply replace what was taken. If you lost $1, God will give you $1 back. But that is human logic. That is not divine mathematics. The original Hebrew word used for restore in this verse is shalom. Shalom does not mean to simply replace. It is a legal and spiritual term of compensation. It means to make whole, to pay a severe penalty, and to compensate the victim with aggressive interest. Under ancient Hebrew law, if a thief was caught, they could not just return the stolen sheep. They had to pay back 4 or 5 times what they took. When the enemy sends a car to your timeline to steal your peace, your relationships, or your finances, they are making a massive spiritual gamble. If they can get you to react in anger, they get to keep the stolen goods. But if you activate your silent shield, if you pivot your frequency using your audio ritual, and if you refuse to step out of the theta state, you officially catch the thief in the spiritual realm. And the moment the thief is caught, the law of shalom is activated. God is not just going to give you back the peace you lost today. He is going to force the enemy to compensate you for every single year of pain, brain fog, and exhaustion you have ever endured. But you must listen to me right now. You are entering a highly volatile 40-day window. In biblical history, 40 days is always the exact measurement of a severe trial, a purification, or a massive transition. The rain fell for 40 days in the flood. Moses was on the mountain for 40 days. Elijah walked for 40 days. The enemy knows this timeline. They know that if they cannot break your frequency in the next 40 days, your new level of authority becomes permanent. They will be permanently locked out of your life. This is why the attacks are going to feel so incredibly urgent. This is why the disguises are going to look so convincing. You cannot afford to wait until the crisis hits to figure out your frequency. You must build your ark before the rain starts. Starting tomorrow morning, you need to make that 7-minute audio activation a non-negotiable part of your daily armor. You must tune your brain to the God frequency before the world has a chance to tune you to fear. You are not the victim of this story. You never were. The enemy wanted you to believe you were cursed, but the truth is, you are the cycle breaker. You are the one chosen to rewrite the spiritual DNA of your entire bloodline. The pain you went through was not a punishment. It was the crushing of the olive to produce the oil of your anointing. You have survived every single ambush, every single betrayal, and every single dark night of the soul. You are still standing, and now you are holding the exact frequency weapon they prayed you would never discover. I want you to prepare your spirit right now. Do not move your physical body. Just close your eyes in your mind. Visualize a heavy, radiant mantle of pure golden light descending from the ceiling and resting firmly on your shoulders. Feel the literal weight of that divine authority settling over your collarbones. It is the weight of victory. It is the weight of the shalom compensation coming to your house. Take a deep, slow breath in, absorbing that light into your chest. As you exhale, comment, "I receive my restoration to mentally and spiritually accept what is yours." The protocol is in your hands. The frequency tool is waiting for your command. The enemy is almost at your door. The only thing left is the activation. Do not move. Do not look away. Heaven is about to seal this into your spiritual DNA. Chosen one, do not click away and do not let your focus drift. If you are sitting, let your posture reflect the divine authority you just received. Mentally plant your feet firmly on the ground of your new reality. This is not a gentle bedtime prayer. This is an official, commanding activation ceremony. You are about to be spiritually fortified, and your high frequency is about to be permanently locked into place. Father, by the supreme authority of Yeshua, we declare the space around this chosen one to be an impenetrable divine fortress. The enemy thought they could ambush your servant. They thought they could drive that low-frequency assignment right into their timeline and steal their peace. But heaven has officially intercepted the plot. We decree right now that this exact timestamp is the moment the atmospheric pressure completely shifts in their favor. Lord, you see this chosen one. You saw them sitting there recently, utterly exhausted, wondering why their mind felt wrapped in a heavy, suffocating fog. You know the exact burden they have been carrying. They have been trying to heal everyone else, trying to be the ultimate peacemaker, while their own spiritual battery was being systematically drained by the matrix. You saw the physical anxiety grip their chest when they sensed that familiar enemy approaching. You know the silent tears they cried when they realized they might have to walk this path alone. You know how deeply they have feared the blinding clarity that comes with stepping into their true, unfiltered power. In the mighty name of Yeshua, I officially seal the frequency interception protocol deeply into their spirit today. I seal the silent shield over their mind, over their emotions, and over their mouth. When the enemy arrives to provoke them, they will not explain themselves. They will not react. They will completely detach. Their strategic silence will become an absolute void that starves the enemy of oxygen. I seal the frequency pivot into their daily reflex. When the attack comes, they will not drop to the level of the flesh. I break and dismantle the assignment of the nostalgia trap. I bind the urgency illusion and strip it of all its manipulative power. I completely shatter the fake financial panic. I command every low-frequency assignment, every familiar energy vampire, and every spiritual hijacker sent to drain their light to immediately return to sender. And right now, I seal the activation of their dormant genius. As they take this crucial step, as they explore this specific sound technology, and as they begin their 7-minute activation ritual every single morning, I command their theta and gamma waves to permanently align with your divine frequency. I declare that the heavy brain fog is entirely eradicated. I declare a permanent end to the spiritual static. Within the next 40 days, as they commit to this audio frequency tool, the mental clarity they have begged for will strike them like divine lightning. I decree that the car sent to destroy them will crash against their wall of quiet confidence. I declare the immediate activation of Shalom over their life. They will not just survive this trial. They will receive absolute restoration, and the enemy will be forced to compensate them with severe, undeniable interest. Heaven is asking you a direct question right now, chosen one. Will you stop operating on the frantic frequency of this world? Will you guard your mind, utilize the tools you have been given, and step fully into your restored genius state? If your answer is yes, I want you to make a silent, unbreakable vow in the center of your mind right now. Feel that vow locking your new timeline into place. Comment, "I am activated," to document this exact moment of transformation in the physical realm. Heaven has heard your silent decree. The Matrix no longer has any claim over your brainwaves. Go now. You are no longer the prey. You are the architect of your own reality. Keep your frequency untouchable. Let the enemy knock on a door that you will never ever open. In the mighty name of Yeshua. Do not say amen yet. Sit in this high frequency for exactly 60 seconds. Breathe in the stillness. Let the absolute silence do its perfect work. Now, you may say amen.